conservation, but more broadly, environmental education and that aspect of things. So this is a picture of the Ravenna River that I took. I grew up with Lake Monticello 30 steps out my back door. The Ravenna and James River is just a few minutes away, and the Blue Ridge Mountains and Atlantic Ocean in my home state of Virginia. So naturally, a love for the environment grew within me from the time I was very, very young. As I grew older, I became more aware of sort of like the detriment to the environment that not only like humans have placed on it, but just like naturally how things have changed. So this is a picture of a part of California before its drought and after, and you can see it is a major, major change. It went from having so much water, full of life, to being empty and brown and horrible, which is just really sad. And this is not something that just happens in California, but across the United States and across the planet in places like Africa. And so basically, people need to take care of their resources and take care of their water. And this is something that many scientists have attributed to climate change. And throughout my research, I realized that issues with water conservation are very much linked to changes in the global temperatures. So for my research, I studied the causes and effects of diminishing freshwater supplies. So I studied like this specific branch of the environment, and as I went into it, I realized that it's so connected to like other things that scientists are studying, like global warming. So as the global temperature rises, not only does evaporation increase, getting rid of the water that is already there, but the sea level rises because the Arctic is melting, and as it rises, the salinated water goes further inland, affecting freshwater and groundwater that people use for drinking. And so out of the whole planet, 70% is water, but only 3% of that is fresh water that is for drinking. So we really have to protect and take care of what we already have, or else there just wouldn't be any left. Another issue is overpopulation. So the planet and the amount of human life is just continually growing, which means that more people are using more resources. Take care of what we have, there won't be enough for everyone. So it's so important that we conserve what we do have, and also change from our polluting ways by when we use when we combust fossil fuels, we are like polluting the atmosphere and polluting the earth when we really need to switch over to clean energy to stop the global warming, which is contributing to this. And basically the effects are global crisis, because water and other resources linked to that are so vital to human life and life everywhere. And then also, as the sea level rises, it's affecting all of the coastal communities where huge amounts of the population live. And the amount of money and effort that is going to be needed to relocate these people is major, and a major, major issue. So studying this really opened my eyes to how connected all of these aspects are. For my internship, I worked at the Ravenna Conservation Alliance, which is newly formed, although it's just because it was a merger between the Ravenna Conservation Society and Streamwatch, which are local and were founded in Charlottesville, Virginia. So I worked under Robbie Savage, who worked on Capitol Hill for 28 years with multiple countries as ambassadors for Clean Water Day and Earth Day. She stood in front of Congress over 100 times advocating for the EPA and the Clean Water Act. She's an amazing person. She founded America's Clean Water Foundation. She worked as the Ravenna Conservation Society president for 9 years, and then continued as its president when it turned into the Ravenna Conservation Alliance. So because it was founded January 1st of 2016, and I worked there over the summer, I was there in its first few months, and I realized that I was not going to be doing as much outside field work that I was expecting. A lot of it was in office. So it's a nonprofit, and basically when you're a nonprofit, anyone can come in at pretty much any time and ask to see your monetary records. And if you haven't been using your grants and donations, and you're spending it in ways that it wasn't awarded to you, then you can be shut down, and that would obviously be an issue. So I was a part of the team to kind of make this a cohesive new organization that is easily like understandable. Like you can understand all of the grants from the past 15 years, um, which was a good experience. I learned a lot about nonprofit management, was cool, which was cool. I wasn't expecting it. But I did get to do a lot of outside work. So the woman on the left is Robbie Savage, who was my mentor. Um, and this was actually at an event where we dug the foundation for an educational center at Shire Natural Area, which is like right on the edge of Louisiana. Um, and so this is like a 300-acre natural area with a couple ponds and a very great diversity in wildlife and trees and things like this. So I was a part to like build the foundation metaphorically and physically for this area. And basically it's going to be air conditioned, have restrooms, and lots of information, just making it more readily available to more people in the community. So that was really interesting and fun. This was an event that I went to at the Rapidan River, not the Rivanna River, with Robbie and one other intern. And what we did here was we taught extremely low income students and families like how to test water. We tested the pH, the oxygen levels, the turbidity, and how to tell how healthy the water is just based on its surroundings. So it was really cool because I just got to see like the little scientist minds working, and I don't think it was an experience that they would have had without us being there. So it was really cool. Um, I spent about 18 and a half hours working at the Rivanna Conservation Alliance, and after working with the kids, I decided I definitely wanted to work with kids for my community service. So extended education is a place that I went as a child and that I worked at for about a year and a half. And I run like little activities there, like cheerleading, a talent show, and other things like that. And I was like, why not bring like an environmental activity or class into this area to help get these kids excited about this? So I talked to my boss, Gary Greenwood, the teacher at the school, who's run it for about 15 years, and he knows him pretty well. So he just kind of let me run with it. So I formed this class by combining activities and experiments and like nature walks into one thing, and any kids who wanted to come could join at any time. And this is one of our experiments or activities. So basically what we did here, it doesn't look like compost, but we made food compost. And I explained like what each food meant, and it's either a brown or a green, which is how you make compost by like layering those things. And they made their own and then ate it afterwards and understood how to make compost in a cool and yummy way, which I liked. This was a picture of a girl from one of our nature walks. We were just like picking flowers and things like that. This you can't really tell, but right here, everybody cut out and like made their own marine creatures, shark, jellyfish, fish, or anything they wanted. And we lined them up based on what we thought the predator was for each animal. And then I explained like how important it was that each and every one was there. Took one out, it would affect the whole rest of the food chain. And it was just kind of a fun activity to do. This was another one of our nature walks, so we just picked up like things off the ground that we thought had cool shapes, and then we drew the imprints of them on people. They're just like little things. I don't know. I just feel like it's important that they're introduced to it and that they like are spending time outside and like understanding different aspects of the environment. And I did like branch out from not just water conservation, but the environment as a whole, because I wanted them to appreciate and understand that. Another part of my community service, I went with like three other friends to the Rivanna River, and we just walked along the riverbed and picked up any trash that we could see. We picked up about one full bag of trash, which was we found like from cans, plastic, broken bottles, things like that. And so basically my legacy and my hope for the future is to create a more healthy environment in my local area and across the globe, and also just to continue educating young students and anyone actually just about how important and vital it is that we take care of the environment that is our home. Okay, so my advice for any rising BRBGS students, use your connections. You have met so many people through governor school, but also just like friends and family. Use those people to help you in creating your internship and your community service. Miss Esh will help you in so many ways to kind of formulate what you want it to become. take advantage of that and don't make it hard for yourself. Like everyone else has said, don't procrastinate. We're all gonna do it, but it just makes it easier on yourself. I completed my internship over the summer, which made things so much easier for me during the school year because I get busy with sports and work and things like that. So that helps a lot. I would also say do something that you're passionate about. Don't make it a chore. Make it something that you love and something that you're gonna learn from, like whether you end up liking it or not. Um, yeah, and my plans for the future are either to attend the University of Virginia or be a rambling wreck at Georgia Tech and study environmental science with a focus on policy making because I feel like through the government we can make real changes. I'm not sure. I found out on the news. It was just like
use that to work together.
yeah, we'll figure it out.
Build the bridges.
Yeah.
Did you check to see what the condition of the water is in Sudan?
Yeah. So I tested the water a few times, like whether it was with the kids or and we actually have pretty healthy levels. So in Fluvanna and Fluvanna University specifically, the Conservation Alliance works very hard to make sure that it's healthy through like having riparian buffer zones along the sides, which basically catch runoff from the agriculture industry so that it doesn't pollute the water. And it depends on like where on the river you are, but overall it's a pretty healthy river. It's not like it's I would say. Yeah.
Not a question, but I had the same advice with Newton's. That's how I got everywhere in
Yeah,
Newton.
exactly.
Yes, with that.
When you're talking about testing the water, you said turbidity. So that is about how clear the water is. So clear water, like you can see all of, so basically there's this thing called a sucky disc that you put at the bottom of this jar, which is like black and white, and you kind of like base how well you can see it and like test it on that, I guess. And so if the water has like is sort of brown or has particles in it, it will affect your turbidity and make it worse. So what you want is good turbidity in water. That's how it is. But yeah.
Have you thought about how your work that you did with the extended ed program, how that could be ongoing? Like, have you talked to Mr. Greenwood about like making that like a rotation or something with the kids?
Well, I think that like that's something I'm going to continue personally. Like I'm going to continue working there over the summer, and we'll probably come back and work there over the summer when I come home for college. So I haven't really thought about when I leave, but personally I'm going to. But like I don't think I'm just going to stop because I got my hours for that.
Yeah.
You know, there has been a lot of things in the news saying that global warming is really fake news.
Yeah, actually, the Trump administration has like defunded the EPA and made the EPA like take off global warming off of its website, so I am aware of this. But it's actually something that is proven, and climate change is something that's natural. It has happened like multiple times over the Earth's existence. Like it's just something that is bound to happen, and this can be attributed to the revolution because we're just polluting the air, which causes greenhouse gases to be released. And it's proven that over time the temperature has risen, and it is by a small amount. So some people don't think that's real, but it's just like it's steady. So you know that it's like a true thing. And I don't know. I guess the people who aren't paying attention to it are gonna realize, oh wow, this is an issue. Years from now, it's affecting their grandkids. You know, like it doesn't seem so real now because we're just going on with day-to-day life. But this is something that is going to majorly affect future generations. So if you care anything about the future of the planet, you should probably take care of it.